Doesn't it bother you that our mothers are still in marriage, but many of their daughters are divorced?
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Omaomi, aka Petite Diva, and in this video we are discussing a particular question that a guy has for the women of this generation.
Doesn't it bother you that our mothers are still in marriage, but many of their daughters are divorced? It goes to show that as far as marriage is concerned, there is something fundamental we are missing in our generation.
Now, this guy asked the question saying that what is missing in the marriages of the women of this generation, that a lot of the women of this generation are getting divorced. Meanwhile, their mothers are still married. Now, people had things to say about his question, his statement, and also about the younger men's expectation of women when they are in marriages.
Bother you that our mothers are still in marriage, but many of their daughters are divorced.
And who are those daughters divorcing? Are those women getting divorced from men, or are they getting divorced from goats? Sense is chasing you, but you want to be Usain Bolt. It's okay, it's fine. It shall be well with you. So all you other men out there with microphones, please, it's enough. We've heard enough. At some point, it's enough. We have heard enough. It's enough.
Doesn't it bother you that our mothers are still in marriage, but many of their daughters are divorced? It goes to show that as far as marriage is concerned, there is something fundamental we are missing in our generation.
It's because you don't understand that women in that generation, we witnessed our mothers suffering. You didn't, because you were too busy outside playing and enjoying yourself, whilst we were in the house witnessing bad things in this so-called perfect marriage in your eyes. We heard our mother complain about our father. We heard our mother complain about how many times our father cheated. We heard about how many times our fathers impregnated another women outside of the marriage. We heard everything. We heard our aunt got HIV by our uncle. I have one of my auntie. She's now passed away. Her husband gave her HIV. He went to work in a foreign country, and then when he came back, the gift he asked for her was HIV. You, African boy, African man, you still have a sugary version of your marriage of the father and your mother, whilst us, we know the reality of it. Most of the time, our mother were the one who suffered. They suffered the most. So when we say for the better and the worse is only for the women. Because you grew up witnessing this, because most of the time, boys, you know what's going on. You know that the father is not the best father. But because your mother stayed, you grew up believing that my wife also has to stay. Even though your father mistreated your mother, you still want your wife to accept everything you are doing to her, even if it's wrong, because this is how you have been raised. Most of African men, you have heard that women, wife, must accept everything. But what is happening now is this girl like me, who grew up hearing this type of story from my mom, from my auntie, from the elders. When is our time to get married? We absolutely don't want to go through the same cycle. This is why you are disturbed, because you are facing women who are choosing themselves over their husband, and this is why they are getting divorced. Because when you are still stuck in the ideal marriage of your mom and dad, we know what it is. We know how sour are these marriage. We know that this type of marriage come with a cost. And the only person who has to pay for the cost is the women. So no, life is too short. Life is too short for me to be with a man who is not willing to treat me the same way I treat him. Life is too short for any women, anyone, to accept the bare minimum. I refuse to be a good wife to a bad husband. I refuse to give the best of me to a man who will only give the worst of him. This is why you are surprised, because this women generation no longer want this. We are healing and we are breaking the curse of toxic marriages. And you are stuck in the past. The only thing you want is to repeat the same trauma over and over again. Because whether you want it or not, this marriage affects the children. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because most of the time, men are selfish. You only think about your own well-being. You don't care about the wife. You don't care about how your children will be affected in the future. Stop. Enough. We are out.
I really hate the fact that African parents use so much time and energy to turn their daughters into wives. We are trained to become wives. Why their sons are just useless cockroaches roaming the earth for free. Oh my God, Jill, that's so aggressive. That's so mean. But did I lie? The moment we can walk, matter of fact, the moment they figure out that our hands work, we're taught to start washing dishes. Why are you not teaching your sons to be husbands before they become husbands? Why do I have to teach your son to become a husband? Matter of fact, not even a husband. Why do I have to teach your son to be a sensible human being with common sense? Why? I know it's not all African men, but it's 99.9%. So
Really? Oh, well, the one thing I'd like to correct her on and correct anybody on that keeps saying things like this is no, they're not teaching the women to be wives. They're teaching them to be servants.
Ladies, when you see a guy indicating that he thinks that you deserve to be treated like a workhorse, that you don't deserve nice things, that you should put up with all sorts of disrespect and abuse, it typically is because he watched his mom do it, stay, and so he assumed that she was happy with that. And most men put their mothers on a pedestal. So if she could sit through that, if that was good enough for her, how dare you want more?
Now, in the comment section of the guy who posed the question, people had things to say about his question. They gave several reasons of why women are getting divorced in this generation. Some people said that the women, the older women that are still in marriages, are the ones telling their daughters, the younger women, to leave their marriages when they see situations that is not ideal for their daughters. Some people talked about the fact that their parents' marriages, their grandparents' marriages were not all that, and that the things that they endured, they can never endure. Some people gave instances of situations that they heard about and they witnessed. Someone talked about the fact that when our grandfather died, our grandmother was very happy. She had joy. She started smiling, that she was not looking as sad as she was when our grandfather was alive. Another person talked about the fact that our grandmother told her that when she gave birth to one of our children, the grandfather brought someone else, a mistress, to the house and said that he cannot wait for her to heal. So that's why he brought somebody that would satisfy his needs, while the woman who gave birth to, that's the grandmother who just gave birth to one of his children, should just bear with what he's doing. So a lot of women were not having it, and they were telling him different stories that made them say that they cannot endure that. You heard one of the persons that replied him saying that one of her uncle gave her anti HIV and she eventually died from the diseases. So you cannot expect younger women that are a lot more educated, have more ability to finance themselves and be independent, to accept some of the things that the older generation accepted. Now, this guy irritated me because I was checking the comment section and seeing some of his replies to what people were saying. And it was so obvious this guy expects women to persevere in rubbish. Because I saw some replies that some guys gave and they were like, oh, that women are lacking perseverance and humility. And I'm like, you want people to persevere in extreme cheating. You want people to be humble when their partner is bashing them and using them to practice boxing. I don't understand. So many women have stayed in a marriage and they ended up being unalived because they were enduring, they were humble, they were persevering. And people are saying, no, they cannot do that. Another thing, some people are saying, the women, who are they divorcing? They are divorcing men. Why did you ask the men what they are doing that they are getting divorced in this generation and their fathers are still married? And it was like, oh, we are talking about women here. Don't make it about men. And I'm like, wow, this guy is not even interested in acknowledging the fact that men too have an issue and that this generation of women are not going to put up with them being lousy. And the thing is, some guys expect that women of this generation would stay in marriages that are not all that because they feel like, oh, their father were not all that, but their mother still stayed. So it must not have been that bad. Not knowing that sometimes the mothers would not tell the guys, the son, what's going on. It's the women that they will not be using as therapist, counselor, and they will be listening to what's going on, understanding what's going on, and they'll be like, no, I cannot endure this. Now, personally, if you've been watching my previous video, you know that my male parent was a disaster. I cannot stand a quarter of what my mother took. I cannot. The first beating, I'm out. Just touch me once, I'm out. Try and be going outside, coming back inside, I'm out. Because I will not allow you to expose me to diseases. And the first time you touch me, the second time it's not going to end the way you are going to think it's going to end. Because based on how I grew up, someone said I'm traumatized, but let me put it as I'm triggered, or I've adapted to a way that I will not allow somebody to do what he did to my mother. So if somebody comes the second time, it's not going to be a case of me just relaxing. It's a case of I'm going to fight to finish. And I don't want a case where I am so blinded by everything, because definitely I'm not going to be just in my mind. I feel like I'm not just going to see that this person is trying to touch me. I'm going to see all the things that I saw when I was growing up. And I'm going to bring that emotion of the fact that I could not do anything that time, but this time I can do something. And I feel like I might see red and go all out. And by the time I start seeing clearly, I probably would have unalived somebody. It is what it is. And I don't want a case where your nonsense will allow me to ruin my own life because I didn't get out of that situation. So I don't want a case where the devil will use you to stop me from achieving what I want to achieve. So I'm out. I'm not going to waste time. I'm not going to waste time. I'm out. I'm packing. I'm moving. I'm out. So this is my own stance because of what I saw growing up. Now, someone who has not witnessed a lot of those things might still think, oh, maybe I should endure. But if you have experienced some things, your capability, your ability to endure is reduced, because you cannot live through that through your mother and then want to live through that personally. In my own opinion, that's why a lot of people are saying, no, I'm tapping out, I'm going, I'm focusing on me, I'm not allowing somebody to come and ruin my life. So that is why women are not enduring the nonsense that some men are doing. Now, the men, because they've been so sheltered by what was going on when they are growing up, they think that if they are not decent human beings, that they can continue with the way they've seen their fathers continue, that the women of this generation will accept it. And now they are surprised, that the women of this generation are not accepting it. And then they begin to make all kinds of, it's because of feminism, it's because of this, it's because of that. Instead of reflecting on the whole situation and thinking that they should be decent human beings, because you cannot be a terrible human being and expect people to be just enduring. What is that? What is that? Anyway, that is my own thoughts about this whole topic. I don't know what you guys think about it. I would love to hear your own opinion. Do you think what the guy said is right? Do you think that women of this generation are lacking in perseverance and humility? That is why they are leaving their marriages and their mothers are still married. I would love to hear your thoughts about this whole discussion. So please leave your comment in the comment section so that we can get this discussion popping. Now, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed and you like videos such as this, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe. And don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.